Right, hey guys, how we doing? Been a while, but we're back on another video from Super Eye Patch Wolf, and today we are checking out why you should watch / read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean, and yeah, this is going to be class. I really enjoyed Stone Ocean. I thought it was absolutely awesome. I liked how it ended. I'm not going to spoil it straight away. If Wolf goes into it, then cool. And the thing it did in the credits at the end, awesome. So yeah, we'll check this out. Before I do, make sure to check out my Etsy shop. I got t-shirts and hoodies that I've designed there. And Patreon, $1 a month gets your name at the end of every video upload. Link in the description. Let's go!
Hello!
Hi!
Right now, you are meant to be watching a feature-length video on the strange and fascinating overlap between fictional wrestling personas and their real-life human counterparts. However, to say that WWE put a slight roadblock in the way of that video is like saying that Yokozuna could be a little heavy-handed. So while I figure out creative ways to not get sued by Vince McMahon and his circus of angry muscle
that was a lot of bloody little clips blocked. Oh my god.
boys, I shall do what I do in all times of darkness. Turn to anime.
Hell yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre.
Alright.
The first one of these videos coming out 7 years ago, in which I hilariously mispronounced actual author Hirohiko Araki's name as Ariaki. That's the last mistake I ever made.
I don't believe you.
What's mad when I
sounds like teriyaki as well, but anyway.
think about that video now is this video came out in a time when the combination of JoJo being a copyright nightmare as well as perhaps just a little too fabulous for the West meant that the idea of it succeeding on a global level felt, well, unlikely.
But now, Jesus Christ, is it freaking everywhere.
Then, 7 years later,
look at that.
That is what's
That's
happening.
absolutely class,
So
man.
much so that now it kind of feels like that we're in the aftermath of that. Combination of long-term fandom fatigue as well as Netflix's hype-destroying batch releases.
That was annoying. That was annoying waiting for the episodes to come out like that on Netflix. But like a weekly episode release would have been boss, but
Meaning the same excitement that was there for the previous JoJo parts just doesn't really feel there for part 6.
yeah. Plus, Thus Spoke Rohan is on Netflix as well, isn't it? But I think they dropped everything at the same time for that, so that wasn't quite the same.
Which is a bummer to me because Stone Ocean is my favorite JoJo part.
That's amazing. Like, it's not my favorite. Part 3 is still my favourite, but Stone Ocean was brilliant, man. I did really enjoy it. Bit slow to start with, but it had a lot to set up.
Okay, I might have said in the part 4 video that that was my favourite. I don't remember, and I'm not watching my own video. But look, I'm allowed to change my mind. Part 6 has issues. Even by JoJo standards, it is weird and convoluted.
Yeah.
It has some, we'll call them uneven stand battles, and oh boy, that ending, we'll get to that. But like,
Nice, so cool. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
two beautiful cowboys on a frosty winter's morn, no matter how wrong society tells me it is, I just can't quit part 6. That is why I am here today, to explain to you why I love this beautiful broken part so much, and we should all be way more excited about its anime release than we are. Let us begin.
Yeah, because not a lot of people were talking about it. I think it is down to the Netflix release, but...
Oh, another reason I haven't posted in a while is that I got married.
Hey!
To a very small and complicated and beautiful little person. And I don't talk about her in these videos because I know she doesn't want that. But just this once, I wanted to mention it. I love you, Michelle. Thank you.
Aww.
Thank you for marrying me.
Cute.
Also, I think I should have left the Brokeback Mountain joke till the part 7 video. That would have been good. Okay, depending on what state of weakness you catch me in, I might waver between part 4 and part 6 being my favorite JoJo
Okay,
parts.
right.
The same is not true of this next statement. Jolene Cujo is my undisputed favorite JoJo.
Hell
This is
yeah.
for many, many reasons, but what I love is how many...
How many female parts she has.
Of those reasons are incorporated into her character design.
Yes, so I'm right. No, here we go. This is cool. He's always good at breaking this stuff down.
Unlike many of her more human fridge-like ancestors, Jolene is, well, not that. Her build is small.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
This is not a superhero. This is a teenage girl. And you can see that in everything from her Britney-esque gang tattoo to her braided ox buns, which I have to believe were inspired by this photo of Gwen Stefani,
cool.
to her Wild West jumpsuit and chaotic neon makeup, all making Jolene feel ripped straight from a 90s drug-fueled rave.
Definitely.
Steeped in the fashion, styling, and culture of that era.
Definitely, it does scream it. Like, it does scream that, and I think that's Boss. I reckon he's always really good at getting the designs done, like.
And that alone makes her feel chaotic and rebellious, but even more so when you look at how Jolene's design is the first protagonist since Jotaro to throw off the Japanese school uniform / bancho aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, her entire visual identity is an attack on everything that came before, which is appropriate given her anger towards her estranged father Jotaro.
Yes, she's not a fan.
The real genius of this design is how it also ties her to that same legacy. In Jotaro's design, we can see how his open jacket creates this rectangular space in his chest that does a lot to make him feel imposing and powerful and masculine. But then in Josuke's design, we see that space transform into a kind of loose heart shape, which I think is evocative of Josuke's softer nature, only for that same negative space to tighten into a more defined shape in Journo's design, before finally solidifying into a physical object in Jolene, so subtly and beautifully tying Jolene's design into the Joestar bloodline and every protagonist that has come before her. The major theme of Part 6 being that your past, that your ancestors, that your memories are an inescapable part of you. And I think it's incredible how Jolene's character design explores that idea. All at once, Jolene is an attack, acknowledgement, and reflection of what a JoJo's protagonist is. And you can feel that the moment the story begins, as our brand new, newly incarcerated hero is caught masturbating by a prison guard. Okay, look, I think this moment is actually really vital in understanding the appeal of Jolene. Compare this to the introduction of our other three protagonists, all of which
is different,
when the story begins, whose opening chapters are used to highlight how strong, cool, or beautiful they are. And then we have little pissy pants Jolene. She has no stand, she is weak, vulnerable, and as of that first page, humiliated. But it's from that position we get to watch Jolene's rise over the course of Stone Ocean. That is what makes her special. A growth that begins as soon as she acquires her stand, Stone Free. And it's in Stone Free we can start to see a very different approach in how Araki writes protagonists. Unlike Star Platinum or Crazy Diamond, Stone Free is not this ultra-powerful problem solver.
No, and I liked that. I liked it wasn't just like a big muscle-bound like creature that was just like bam. This one had a different kind of like thing going on.
Though its combat ability is described as above average, it initially cannot punch through either the stone walls of Jolene's cell or the iron bars which keep her there, something we've seen both Jotaro
just do straight
and to a lesser
away
extent Josuke able to do. Instead, Stone Free has the ability to produce a small strand of thread. The power of Stone Free coming not necessarily from the stand itself, but how Jolene chooses to use that ability to overcome the stand's limitations.
Yeah, because it affects her, doesn't it, as well? Like, as the string extends, it takes part of her skin with it.
Take this part, for example. Gwes mocking Jolene for Stone Free's inability to break down the metal gate between them. A problem Jolene solves by turning Stone Free's fist to string so they can pass through the bars
so sick.
Before solidifying on the other side as they collide with Gwes's skull. How fucking fun and satisfying is that?
Very much so.
It's not Stone Free's inherent power that won the fight, but Jolene's ingenuity and creativity
the way she adapted to it,
solving the problem in front of her. And you could see Araki playing with this concept with Giorno's gold experience from part 5, a stand initially described as very weak, the only issue there being that gold experience made no goddamn sense at all, and if you say you understood it, you're a liar! A filthy liar! Rather than the just
wow, okay.
mess of different abilities that will come onto gold experience, Stone Free works off a specific physical rule set, and watching Jolene learn to manipulate that rule set is a part of what makes her so much fun as a character. For example, using her thread to sew up wounds,
cool.
as a grapple hook,
yep.
to steal items and knickknacks, as a wire through which to communicate with her allies.
That was kind of cool. I really liked that one, being able to talk down the wire. It's the same like cup and string kind of thing, isn't it?
As a protective layer of armor to help her intercept incoming attacks. As a subtle way to redirect the force of her opponents. To scorpion harpoon her enemies into giant gravity wells. As a net to protect herself from raining poisonous frogs. As a detection system to identify invisible zombie crocodiles.
She does so much with it.
Motherfuckers. And whatever is going on here. Wait a minute. Oh my god! When you compare this to just how many of Jotaro's fights he wins because he's awesome and strong, up to and including giving a man a heart attack by just being really, really cool, it's not only a testament to just how much Araki's writing has improved, but also it's in that comparison we can see something else really important. Jotaro is a badass, Jolene becomes one. If you ask me what I love about Jolene, basically none of it is there when we first meet her. She is a gullible idiot teenager who has been framed for a hit-and-run accident actually committed by her rich dickhead boyfriend, who has manipulated Jolene through a conniving lawyer into accepting a 15-year jail sentence. But from there, we watch her grow. We watch her come to understand the prison and how it works, how to recognize when someone's trying to take advantage of her, how to stand up for herself.
See what you did there? Stand up for herself. I'll let you think about it for a second. Clever.
And gradually that growth, that resolve and strength begins to define her as a character.
Mate, she does grow into an absolute badass within it. Like,
powerful scene when she gets shit thrown on her face. This is genuinely a huge moment for Jolene. This is the point when she's been locked in the ultra security wing, the most vile, frightening, and dangerous part of the prison, where she's blasted with freezing water and given disgusting insect
food. Yeah.
And when the other male prisoners realize there is a woman among them, they begin to rave and howl in delight, screaming violent misogyny at her. The hurled fecal matter, a horrifying exclamation point of the hell Jolene has now found herself trapped in. It is a genuinely awful and cruel scene, and worse, this is not an opponent Jolene can beat. This is a nightmare that can only be endured. But Jolene realizes that. She acknowledges that she needs to find the resolve within herself to get through this.
Like, look at the. I'll go back. Look at that. Look at that. That is some. She is gonna get out kind of look there. Hopefully I haven't gone too far back.
The resolve within herself to get through this, which she does in the memory of her father, Jotaro. And with that strength comes conviction. This will not break her. She will withstand this and grow stronger from it as she bites down on her moldy bread in an emphatic statement of survival. And fuck, it's such a powerful moment. But what I love is how immediately that resolve is tested. Jolene, along with every other dangerous lunatic in the ultra security
they're all let out,
is released from her cell, all being driven into a violent rage by the stand survivor. And it's here Jolene encounters Westwood, a monstrous, hulking security guard obsessed with proving that he is the strongest, who fixates on Jolene, and this, I'm sorry for the repeated hyperbole of this video, is my favorite fight in JoJo.
It's sick. In whole of JoJo. Wow, alright, break this down. This is interesting.
In slighter, more feminine frame, Well, here is where that starts to matter.
Alright, okay.
Terrifying physical difference between Westwood and Jolene framing this entire fight. Westwood using his massive hulking body to pummel Jolene.
Yeah, he does go pretty hard, like.
And dragging her to the ground with crushing chokeholds. Like, all that strength, all that resolve we've just watched Jolene marshal within herself
proper tested.
is now being violently tested by Westwood. It is brutal, even by the standards of JoJo, but it's through that brutality we get to watch Jolene's new resolve shine, as it manifests in her developing a brand new close-range style of stand battling, combining stone.
It is sick. Alright, okay, that's cool, yeah.
And using a combination of stand attacks and martial arts to land several devastating blows against Westwood. And the bit where she grabs Westwood's wrist and Chun-Li kicks the fuck out of him, only to have a hole blown through her arm as Westwood's stand Planet Waves activates, which causes...
Oh yeah, this is weird. Brings down meteorites, doesn't it?
Fucking meteorites to fall out of outer space to track on Westwood but blast through his opponents while disintegrating on contact with him. It's such a brutal and insane escalation.
It is mad.
And yet still, through all that, Jolene still fights on, including knocking meteorites out of the sky with her fists before finally brutally beating Westwood in one of the most cathartic conclusions to a stand fight in history. Jolene falling to her knees and just screaming this primal, guttural howl of victory. And God, it's so fucking cool.
It is, alright, it is cool. It is cool, but like, best fight in JoJo's, man. That's a big, big statement, that.
Because how far does she now feel from that lost, vulnerable child we first met in the jail?
We've seen her grow.
This is what I kind of love about Jolene's progression. Her fights don't feel like a group of disconnected encounters, but a steady escalation of her, as her strategies continue to evolve and her confidence and resolve build with each successive victory, until she is literally willing to fucking set herself
on fire,
to prove that she is stronger than you. Jotaro is a badass. Jolene becomes one.
Yeah.
It's actually in Jotaro that Part 6 does two really interesting things, and the first is how it recontextualizes him. When Jotaro appeared in Part 3, he was an extremely entertaining, if not especially deep character, and while I think that simplicity was part of his appeal, what's been interesting since then is watching Araki develop that character in each successive part.
Yeah, he's
and
definitely
now
grown,
in
and he's
Part 6,
very...
we appear even deeper.
He's a very adult character now. He's very mature.
Part of Jotaro Kujo. A lifetime spent fighting back the evil Dio has created, now isolating him from his family. Jotaro being nearly entirely absent from Jolene's life. His coldness, his stoicness, the things that make him so cool and appealing, now the emotional barrier between
him and his daughter. Yeah.
Jotaro's presence in Stone Ocean also does something else. Jotaro and his invincible stand Star Platinum have beaten two major series antagonists up till this point, making them the ultimate assurance that everything will be okay.
But...
Which is why it's so shocking when Whitesnake, the new main antagonist stand, early in the story robs Jotaro of both his stand
and his memories. Yeah, man. Like, I was just like, what? It's Jotaro. You can't do that to my boy. But yeah, and it's like, this is pretty drastic. This
leaving him a husk, not only giving Jolene a motive in retrieving her father's stand and memories, but placing the onus of the story directly on her.
Yeah.
She is the hero. No one is coming to save her, making her rise from lowly masturbator to self-immolating badass all in one move.
Lowly masturbator, damn.
Having Jotaro return in Stone Ocean adds a lot to Part 6, but unfortunately, I don't know I'd really say the same for the rest of the supporting cast. Don't get me wrong, I like Hermes, Weather, Emporio, and Anasui, but as individual characters, they never really get the time to breathe or develop in their own right.
I suppose, in all fairness, with Weather, when we learn about Weather being related to the priest, that doesn't play out very long, and we don't get a really good idea as to why certain things happen with their stands and that. But it was cool that it happened, but yeah, he is kind of right, I guess. Yeah, he's right.
And as a group, they lack that emotional core that bonded the god-tier supporting cast of parts 4 and 5.
3. Part 3 is god tier.
Like the residents of Moria.
Alright, I mean, yeah, I see that now. That's cool, but yeah.
Those shared desire to root out evil from their town, or the Bucciarati gang's loyalty to their leader Bruno. Meaning you never get that same electric chemistry that made the casts of those previous parts so enjoyable. Now, I've seen enough Stone Ocean group cosplay to know that I am absolutely pissing someone off, so one thing I do think is really cool about this supporting cast is the thematic thread that runs between them. That thread being memories. Hermes fights to honor the memory of her dead sister.
Yeah.
Weather Report's entire story revolves around him recovering,
trying to find out who he is. Yeah.
Emporio's stand ability is summoning the memory of lost objects. Him even living in the memory of a room that no longer exists. And Annecy, well, honestly, I don't really know what the deal with Annecy is, except that he used to be a girl,
woman,
but
yeah.
not even like narratively or in a fun way, because in his flashbacks he's also a boy, but then maybe he used Diver Down to rejig his anatomy. And there is this interview where Araki talks about wanting Annecy to be a character beyond gender, but then why is he only a boy in the anime? Because that just makes no goddamn sense at all. The lesson here is that Annecy is a complete mess. Do not try and figure it out.
Okay.
In the comments. However, there is...
Hasn't, might check it out actually now after that. Didn't Hamon Beat do a video covering that?
One beautiful little exception to all my criticisms with the supporting cast of Part 6, and it is...
Excuse me.
Foo Fighters. In general, I'm just kind of a sucker for non-human characters. Human, and Foo Fighters is a very entertaining one of those.
Yeah,
it's
she's class.
how her character ties to that central theme of memories that really makes me love her. You see, Whitesnake created Foo Fighters by rocking too hard. The preceding joke was stolen from H-Bomber Guy. I would like to take this opportunity to apologize while simultaneously do it again. Which he did by taking Plankton and giving it a stand and memories. And initially, the only purpose to Foo Fighters' existence is as a kind of guard dog. Her days spent in an endless repetitive cycle
making sure the
of
discs don't get found, yeah.
and protecting a pile of burnt CDs hidden in a tractor. We'll get there. Each day, an exact monotonous replica of the one that came before it. Her life devoid of context or meaning. And it's only upon meeting Jolene and Hermes that she leaves this place and begins to form bonds and create memories. Even stating living is more than just being alive. It means making memories. That's the remarkable thing about humans. Their memories give their cells courage. So while I do think the supporting cast in general are weaker than previous parts, I also appreciate how nearly all of them add to that core theme of memories. But before we go too far down that particular rabbit hole, I want to take a second and turn our attention to another of the more divisive and, to me, disappointing aspects of Stone Ocean.
Okay.
And that is its anime adaptation.
Oh, damn. Okay. Wow. I mean, I've not read the manga myself, so this is interesting.
I want to be a little careful here. The Stone Ocean adaptation is okay. In terms of being a basic translation of its manga, it's fine. And that is why it's so disappointing. Well, you could argue that Part 4's adaptation softened Araki's art style a little too much. You cannot argue with what a spectacularly creative visual reinterpretation it is of Diamond is Unbreakable.
Okay, yeah.
While Part 5 pulled back on the creative visual zaniness, it upped the absolutely insane level of production. And Part 6 does, well, neither of those things. This is disappointing on multiple levels, one of the biggest being that a strong adaptation of Stone Ocean could have made up for one of its weakest aspects. When you think back to previous JoJo parts, think of how drenched in the visual culture of locations their stories were. The globe-spanning...
Yeah, and then this doesn't really venture a lot of places, does it, right?
Stand battles of Part 3, the surreal yet cozy streets of Morio of Part 4, or Italy's beautiful blend of Romanesque and Gothic architecture that was the backdrop of Part 5. But then you have Part 6, where the setting is prison, which is just a lot less visually exciting. But an anime adaptation could have done so much to remedy this. There's so much that becomes possible with color, a landscape format, and a team of creative background artists. Think of just how much life was brought to Morio with its wild, surreal color direction. Or hell, even just the neon-soaked palette of the Green Dolphin Penitentiary in Stone Ocean's opening. But what we actually get in the anime is, well, a lot of really uninspired layouts cast in these muddy grey and brown tones.
Yeah, there's no detail there, is there?
Yeah. Word to describe it, it's just dull.
Bland.
Now, I understand dull is not an inaccurate way to describe a prison, but prisons can be lots of things. Oppressive, controlled, dangerous, frightening, but we don't get that here. It doesn't feel like any real consideration or art direction was given to
just
what kind
make
of
it the location.
Dolphin prison should evoke. Instead, they just seem to have directly copied the color scans, which for the record are done by Shueisha, not Araki. And you just need to look at Araki's color work to see how he might have treated it. And unfortunately, because of how much more prominently background work features in anime as opposed to manga, what it means is that one of the weakest aspects of Stone Ocean now feels even weaker. Unfortunately, it isn't just the art direction that lets Stone Ocean down. While the Part 6 anime can, on occasion, look pretty great, there's some sequences where in the journey from panel to screen, so much was lost that I have to wonder if the people adapting it even understood what was happening in the manga. Take, for example, that goddamn beautiful sequence of Stone Free punching through the bars we talked about earlier.
It's very cool, very
Think
cool.
about what a complicated physical action is taking place here, but also the thought and nuance Araki has taken in depicting it. We get a panel from Jolene's perspective, the fence pulling on the stringified parts of Stone Free's arm, before a second panel shows us Stone Free's fist reforming on the other side, solidifying as it crashes into Gwess, providing you with just enough information to feel the physicality of Stone Free and the extremely clever way Jolene has used it here. And if that isn't fucking cool enough already, you turn the page only for Araki to set your goddamn brain on fire as the same action repeats a dozen more times in a second, all rendered with a beautiful crystal clarity.
Very cool.
But then, look at how this is adapted in the anime. We get Gwess taunting Jolene, then a zip pan of Stone Free's fist, and then it just hits Gwess. But there's no visual information to
as to
show
why.
us how
Right,
the
okay.
fist passed through the fence. We get a few more shots of Jolene and Gwess talking, and then an aura shot. But here, it nearly looks like Stone Free is reaching around the gate and punching Gwess from the side. But even that's hard to tell because the entire shot is smeared with this ugly grey motion blur. The brilliant and specific
Yeah, that is very different. Jesus.
way Stone Free was used in the manga, now completely lost. This was not a problem with auras in previous parts, which, even when very chaotic, were animated with a lot of care and nuance. But in Part 6, that same skill and clarity just feels like it's missing. The heavy motion blur, perhaps added to disguise that fact. And unfortunately, it robs the Stone Ocean anime of some of the series' most explosive and memorable moments. In fact, a lot of the big moments of Stone Ocean just feel flat in comparison to the source material, maybe the most egregious coming in the fight with Sea Moon. In the manga, this fight is absolutely terrifying, a battle with this uncanny, otherworldly combination of stand and sentient creature. And I mean, look at the tension and danger that just fucking radiates from this page.
Wow, yeah.
The way Seamoon and his infinity of hands flood the composition, cramming Jolene down into this bottom corner, making her feel tense and
very,
like a spring that's about to explode into
she
this
is
dangerous
under attack, man.
opponents. I love this page so much, I have literally had it framed
wow.
for years. And so, imagine my disappointment when this is what it looks like in the anime.
Oh, mate. Yo. Oh, man, she's posed exactly the same as well. Mate, that is disappointing, isn't it? Oh, my God.
I feel I have made my points. In fact,
very
the
much
entire encounter with Seamoon, one of the best in the manga, is plagued by some incredibly weak layout and storyboarding. I could keep going here, but I worry I'm starting to sound even more like the genius at work guy from The Simpsons than usual, so I'm gonna leave it at this. By part 6, Araki's ability to make manga was reaching virtuosic levels. After 15 years, he was now capable of some truly incredible things, and to watch an anime adaptation that took and elevated that material would have been something really special. And so while what we got was fine, it also falls far below what it could have been, and it's just hard not to feel a little salty about that. There is one major exception to this that we shall get to much later in the video.
Okay.
In many ways, Stone Ocean is a part of highs and lows, and maybe the purest example of this is its stand battles. With each part in JoJo, there's what feels like a very conscious attempt to push the boundaries of what a battle is. From the simple Sunshine karate duels of Phantom Blood,
mate, I do miss them, but go on.
To the more creative Looney Tune-esque tomfoolery of Part 2,
hell yes,
to the introduction of stands
come on,
in Part 3, to the increased complexity of those stands in Part 4, to the batshit madness of multi-person team stand battles in Part 5. And as for the evolution of Part 6, well, they are, quite simply, fucking insane!
Yeah, they are mad.
This is both their greatest strength and biggest weakness. To break down that rather emphatic statement, there is within Part 6 what I feel like a real desire to explore and expand upon what a stand is.
Yeah.
And you can see this in a flashback conversation between Dio and Father Pucci, where Dio states that a stand is a manifestation of a person's soul, even suggesting that Leonardo da Vinci's stand was the Mona Lisa. There is a boner joke in there that I shall not make. The way this manifests in battle is a much looser relationship between stand and stand user. While there are definitely exceptions, a lot of the stands from earlier JoJo parts function basically like an extra limb in full control of their user. But in Part 6, that relationship gets way more nebulous. Take, for example, a stand like Thunder McQueen. Slight unaliving discussion warning here, whose stand causes whatever damage he inflicts upon himself to manifest on his opponents. McQueen being completely unaware that this is
what he does,
What makes him dangerous is his obsession with, well, unaliving
trying to kill himself,
meaning a part of fighting McQueen is convincing him
to
that
stay alive.
Life is worth living. Oh, that was much darker to explain than I thought it would be. Another example of this being the hype-filled organ-harvesting baseball contest of Marilyn Manson, where our protagonists are tricked into a deadly timed game of catch that if they lose, they'll have their innards ripped out by a spooky ghost
pretty
robot,
gross,
or
and then
even
valued,
Sportsmax, who spends the majority of his fight drowning in a metal pipe as our protagonists wait for him to die while surviving his invisible zombie alligator. This battle also fulfilling my lifelong
that was
dream
mad.
of having a stand named after the greatest band in the world, Limp Bizkit. I am joking, but not as much as you'd hope. In each of
I'm
the
gonna take
examples,
things
the
my
focus
way.
isn't
That's
on
my way.
checkmating your opponent into
Our
a
way
physical
or the
position where
highway.
your ghost friend can beat the piss out of them. It's adapting and surviving inside a specific rule set.
Excuse me, Jesus.
Philosophy makes for some incredibly creative and captivating battle scenarios. And particularly later in Stone Ocean, where the relationships between stand and stand user get stretched even further, with there even being multiple sentient stands with their own personality.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
The way he argues with the old
basically
man
get to watch
sometimes
people
is
argue
interesting.
with their own souls, but also because it leads to some really unique encounters, like Yo-Yo Ma, a stand that will pretend to be your friend by doing nice things, all the while inflicting slow, insidious damage upon you.
Yeah, that was
While
weird.
it's
That
not
was
the
very,
most
very
exciting
weird.
stand battle, it's memorable by virtue of just how unique it is. And I'd say the same of the battle with Green Baby, a creature slash stand
Oh, mate, they get smaller the closer they get and stuff. That was so weird.
thing that shrinks you proportionally to how close you get to it. Meaning, falling on the Green Baby results in a nightmarish Zeno's paradox, as the rate at which you shrink exceeds the rate at which you fall, meaning you just plummet into infinity. And Araki thought of that. And
So clever. So cool. But so strange.
this is all starting to sound a little wild. Oh, buddy. We're just getting started. When stands first appeared in part 3, they had powers like shoot fire,
Yeah.
or swim, or is a gun. But in the latter half of part 6, we encounter stands that can twist and warp reality
Yeah.
itself, distorting the very laws of physics our planet works off in ways that genuinely make me feel like I'm losing my mind. For example, while piloting a helicopter, Jolene and friends are attacked by a mysterious flying worm that causes them to go blind. While driving on a highway, Jolene and friends notice some pebbles sliding the opposite direction to them, only to realize that the entirety of Earth's gravity has reorientated itself around an enemy stand. Jolene and friends are attacked by the 1974 Miami Dolphins, including MVP running back Larry Zonka, who got 33 runs running over 145 yards in a single season, which I know because the manga tells you all that.
Mate.
Jolene and friends are attacked by rainbows that if you look at them, you begin to subliminally believe you are a snail, to the point that you either explode into little snails or become a snail person yourself. Jolene and friends pursue an enemy stand user down a mysterious underground...
This was so weird. It's like the time thing down there, isn't it? With the plane and that. That was so bizarre. Oh yeah, because that's where they died. That's where it crashed, didn't it?
Only to find themselves trapped in the memory of the 2005 Flight 2862 plane, which crashed in Florida. This chapter actually bizarrely predicting the actual real-life Equatorial Airlines 2005 plane crash. The stand...
No way. That's insane. Oh, and this one with the imagination and stories and that. This was bizarre.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Just the entire fucking stand. I'm just gonna play the clip.
Just last night with a razor blade, I cut off my ear. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Go, or Van Gogh's self-portraits. What did you say?
Look, part of the reason you come to JoJo's is for a wild, weird time.
Hell
It's in
yeah,
the name,
but
and
this is
I can genuinely not understand
so out
how
there.
much I fucking love the latter half of part 6 for this. Even multiple rewatches in, I find myself cackling in delight at the sheer creative madness of it all. And look, life out there is tough. Things are shitty, things are sad. But when I think about how a piece of media can lift you out of all that with sheer absurdity, I genuinely don't think that's something just to be laughed at. I think it's something to be celebrated. And to me, no part does this better than the stand battles of part 6. Part 6's stand battles are special because of their ambition, but occasionally that ambition is also their downfall. I'd argue that stands are at their most interesting when focused on one specific ability used in creative ways. But I think in the drive to create interesting scenarios, Araki occasionally writes stands with multiple abilities that have no real relation to each other. A stand like Whitesnake, for example, can steal a person's stand, steal a person's memories, trap people in a dream world, and also turn its body into a poisonous sludge. The problem here being that it unnecessarily convolutes any potential battle scenario involving Whitesnake, and stands like Heavy Weather or Dragon's Dream share this same problem. This is a tricky area to talk about because what we're essentially discussing is how much narrative glue you need to hold your magical ghost fights together, which will vary from person to person. But a few encounters for me just buckle under the weight of their creative ambition.
Thing is, though, I feel like because of the way Part 6 ends and the way Part 7 works, I feel like this is Araki just really going all out with the stands thing, just being like, I could do whatever the hell I want because I know how I'm ending this now. I know I'm starting the next part. Like, maybe, I don't know.
Take, for example, a fight like Jailhouse Rock, a stand that doesn't attack you directly, but instead your ability to create short-term memory, letting you only retain 3 new pieces of information at any given time.
Very specific and very interesting.
Trapping you in this nightmarish cycle of remembering that you're even in a stand fight.
It reminds me of, what's the film? There's a film where the guy keeps losing his memory and keeps waking up and keeps writing stuff on himself, and I think that's what it was referencing. Oh my god! I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, I watched that when I was little, and that was such a good film.
That idea is fucking awesome. The issue is how the writing and logic of this encounter failed to keep up with its ambition. At one point, a hail of bullets is fired at Jolene, the idea being that she will have her 3 memory slots taken up by 3 bullets and then be unable to perceive or protect herself from any more. But the solution is that Jolene looks at the hail of bullets reflecting in a puddle, the image of that reflection now only taking up 1 slot of memory, meaning she can now defend herself from all the bullets. My issue is that this solution gets into some really nebulous territory.
I mean, it works.
Information is, as well as the nature of held memories, because oh god, it's happening again, isn't it? To put it another way, it's an extremely contrived solution to a very interesting problem. And while the actual
how else would you do it then? Come on, how would you do it?
of this battle is some of the most bonkers shit JoJo has ever pulled, and I love it. The uneven nature of the fight feels emblematic to me of Part 6 as a whole, filled with some of the most ambitious creativity in the entirety of JoJo, occasionally struggling under the weight of that same ambition. Personally, however, that is a trade I'm willing to make. At this point, Araki had been writing weekly battle manga for 15 years.
It's a long time, Jesus Christ.
Flaws of Part 6 are really just the result of him still trying to elevate a formula he's elevated 5 times already. And while the result may be uneven, I'm always going to respect messy and ambitious over safe and functional. And to me, that as a whole is what Part 6 is. This idea touches on a larger meta aspect to Stone Ocean that honestly has kind of been looming over this entire video. But to get there, we need to go through the final piece of Part 6 we have yet to talk about. And it is Father Pucci.
I'm a fan, but he's not as cool as this guy. Always said that Kira is my favourite villain in JoJo's.
I tend to feel bad for any post-Part 4 villain in JoJo. Having to follow the double act of Dio Brando and Yoshikage Kira is like having big shoes to fill if those shoes are the size of several small countries. And admittedly, as an individual character, Father Pucci doesn't really stand out the same way they do.
No.
He's quiet, considered, his motives not as pronounced nor his personality as memorable, his only immediately discernible trait being his habit of counting upwards in prime numbers. However, it's when you look at Pucci's place in the larger story of Part 6 that you begin to see not only why he's an amazing villain, but what is so incredible about Stone Ocean as a story. And what it comes back to is something that's come up over and over this video. The theme of memories. Unfortunately, this is as far as we can go without spoilers. You have been warned.
That's perfectly fine. But yeah, if you guys are reacting to the... if you guys are watching my reaction here and you've not seen Part 6, then yeah, bow out. But I have, so I'm cool.
Memory has always been a part of JoJo, particularly the idea that you are defined by the memory of the people that came before you. But in Stone Ocean, it's even more pronounced. The main inciting incident and Jolene's entire motivation is Jotaro losing his memories. And even when he gets his stand back, without those memories, he's just a husk. A major moment.
Stand acts on itself, though, to defend him.
Of character progression for Jolene coming in her recontextualizing her memories of Jotaro and understanding his absence from her childhood was just him trying to protect her.
Yeah,
Well, kind of an aside, we learn in a prequel story that Jolene's mother actually died 2 years before Stone Ocean, meaning that when Jolene thinks of her in the beginning of the story, it's likely her memory she's taking comfort in. 3 of the most powerful stand users in Stone Ocean, in Whitesnake, Jailhouse Rock, and Underworld all have memory-based abilities.
That's true.
They also have that thematic thread of memory that runs through the supporting cast, but particularly in Foo Fighters, who, when given the chance to come back to life without her memories, refuses, stating that without those memories, it wouldn't be her. Memory in Stone Ocean is an important, sacred thing. Memories propel us, memories define us. But then you have Father Pucci, who is defined by his ability to take...
It says remove it. Yeah.
That is the ultimate sin of Stone Ocean. Memory is not sacred to Pucci. It is data to be collected and traded. But even more than that, memory is something to be feared. And that fear is what drives him. Pucci, having many years ago discovered that his sister Perla, who he loved dearly, was in an unknowingly incestuous relationship with their long-lost brother, Weather Report. The shame and fear of this discovery driving Pucci to hire a detective to separate the two.
But then this goes wrong, doesn't it? Jesus Christ, turns out they're huge racists.
Unbeknownst to Pucci, this man was a member of the Ku Klux Klan, who, after discovering that Weather Report's father was African American, assembles a mob to attack Weather and Perla, violently beating Weather into a state of near death. And Perla, believing that she's just witnessed the death of her beloved, throws herself from a cliff, drowning in the lake below. The next morning, Pucci discovers in horror what has happened, what his actions has led to, and it destroys him. This memory haunting Pucci, and in more ways than one, as Pucci now is endlessly pursued by Weather, obsessed with making Pucci atone for his sins, resulting in Pucci sealing away his own brother's memories. But if only Pucci could have known what would happen. If only he could have seen where his actions would lead. If only the future was as simple and predictable as reciting prime numbers.
The heavens plan.
Then he could have avoided this fate. That thought crawls inside Pucci, who after meeting Dio is introduced to the idea of achieving heaven, of bringing about a new, pristine era in humanity, which in Pucci's tortured psyche means unfolding time itself, of letting each person on Earth perceive their entire future, from the instant they're born till the day they die, and every moment in between, so that no one ever has to endure the same pain of the unknown that he did.
Because if you know, then it's just easier that way, I guess. I'm not a fan of that, but yeah.
This, in Pucci's broken mind, is the ultimate act of love he will inflict on humanity. And the fucked up part is he succeeds. Through a rather convoluted series of events, Pucci achieves his impossible heaven, and in doing so, obtains a new godlike stand in Stairway to Heaven, with the ability to accelerate and control time, to warp and distort the very fabric of reality, and separate our perception of it. And this battle is why I'm leaving watch in the title of this video. The anime doing a spectacular job of visually conveying not only a showdown with a terrifying godlike being like this, but the disintegration of time itself.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, say, I've not read the manga myself, but okay, this is cool that they've done this. He's saying they've done this well. Cool.
As days and nights pass in seconds,
it does look sick.
The very laws of physics come undone. The anime's OP even reverting back to the very first Phantom Blood opening from 10 real-life years ago. Jolene and Pucci now taking the place of Jonathan and Dio
so sick.
In a spectacular depiction of how broken time now is. Pucci now terrifyingly able to move with...
Because they've done that with like pretty much every season, haven't they? You get like the odd one or two openings that are different, taking into consideration what's happened at the time. It's always been cool that.
In that accelerated time, becoming near imperceptible to the human eye, to the point that even Jotaro's invincible time stop barely affects him at all. And as a fan of JoJo, you've watched this happen 5 times now. 5 times you've watched a hero of the Joestar bloodline face some impossible godlike evil. And so, you're waiting for that one big moment when the villain overlooks some seemingly innocuous detail.
Yeah, and that just doesn't happen.
For the hero to use that detail to achieve a last-second victory. And you wait, and you wait, and you wait. And one by one, our heroes start to fall. Even the invincible
Jotaro,
whom Pucci forces to choose between saving Jolene and protecting himself, using knives exactly as Dio did, like Jotaro's old nemesis is stabbing at him from all those years ago. Jotaro is killed. Finally, it's just Emporio, Jolene, and Pucci. And Jolene, knowing she cannot win, gives her life to save Emporio, who by himself experiences the collapse of the known universe, and now, trapped in an alternate reality, alone, desperate and afraid, he returns to his room of memories where he faces Pucci one final time, using weather report's stand to flood Pucci's blood with oxygen, defeating him, before the universe resets again. Emporio now finding himself in a strange new reality.
This is great. This whole refresh. Sick.
Alternate universe versions of Jolene and his friends. And it's in this strange new world that part 6 draws to a close. I can remember the first time I read this and thinking, wow, that was fucking bullshit! The fucking baseball kid, the little fucking baseball ghost child beats Hyper Jesus?
Yeah.
With clouds? What the fuck? What about Jolene? Oh my god, I hate this. I hate part 6. What a crock of shit. Then I calmed down, and over time, I actually really grew to appreciate this ending. Towards the end of part 6, Araki realized something that terrified him. He had reached his limit.
Yeah.
After 15 years of writing weekly shonen manga, this was his artistic and creative peak. And if he was to ever move forward from here, he needed to rethink everything.
Need to start again.
The way he worked, to the stories he told, to the way he drew them. And this is what fueled his decision to start from zero, to reset the entire JoJo universe and end his legendary 15-year run in Jump. Now, stepping away from creating weekly manga. But it wasn't doing this, walking away from the familiar, that led to Araki creating Part 7 Steel Ball Run, a new monthly JoJo story beginning a brand new timeline that rethinks every single aspect of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure story. And while Part 6 is my favorite part, I find it very difficult to argue that Part 7 isn't Araki's magnum opus.
You see, how many chapters have I read? I think I've read like 5. I've only read like 5 or 6 chapters of part 7, so I am on it. But yeah.
And I think the reason for that,
excuse me,
was his willingness to step away from the familiar and into the unknown. And I think that right there is the message of part 6. This is what changed how I saw the ending of Stone Ocean. On one side, you have Father Pucci, obsessed with knowing the future, of foreseeing his fate. Then on the other, you have Emporio, scared, lost, and alone. But the one thing he does have is his memories, is the people that came before him, the ones who fought and died so he could be here. And it's from their literal memory he draws strength and uses it to overcome this impossible evil. And with that courage, steps forward into a brand new world. And I think the message is this: even if reality around you crumbles to nothing, even if your world changes in impossible and frightening ways, you still have everything that came before you. All the people that fought so you could be here, and all the memories that have created the person you now are. And so, while trying to know the future, obsessing over what will or will not happen is tempting, what's more valuable is to let that future be unknown and draw strength from your past, both in the people that came before you and the memories you've created with the ones you love, using that to step forward into that unknown, knowing further memories await you there. That's pretty rad. That's why JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Stone Ocean is, and likely always will be, my favorite part.
Damn.
Although I don't know, that first chapter of part 9 was pretty fucking good. Friends, thank you for
Oh, right, okay.
Don't forget to check out eyepatchwolves.com and partake in some Eyepatchwolves merch. Also, if you like hearing me talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, check out the Jeff's Bizarre Adventure podcast over on giantbomb.com.
Okay.
Link below. Friends, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Class. Yeah, that was really good. That was really, really cool. I wouldn't say part 6 my favourite, but then again, I don't look at everything so in depth as other people, so part 3 is still my favourite. I missed the fights from part 1 and 2. But yeah, it was nice that it kind of like rounded off this like kind of story that we had, and then it just kind of like reset everything. And then part 7, like I said, I'm like 6 or 7 chapters in and I'm enjoying it. I just kind of fell off. This reminds me, I need to like catch up. I got videos from Hammonbeat I need to watch, man, but I'm not going to rush it. I'm putting too much on myself recently, I've learned. I need to chill. But yeah, that was cool. I've got a couple more Super Eyepatch Wolf videos I'll eventually check out, like when I get around to it. Sorry guys, like what the internet did to Garfield, why you should still watch Berserk, watch and read Berserk. They're on the list. I've got them ready to go. I'll do them when I get around to them. I got a lot going on. But yeah, make sure you check out my Etsy shop. Links in the description. I got t-shirts and hoodies there that I'm designing, and I add new designs every like 2 weeks or something like that. And thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link in the description of the Patreon page. $1 a month /spot channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know if you watch Gus in future videos. I'll see you guys all next time.